today I wanted to go over a gun that you guys are constantly asking me questions about on Instagram. So I figured let's make an updated video. We are gonna go over my North Hollywood semi-clone. It's not really a clone anymore. Bushmaster heavy barrel Dissipator. Number one, what's a dissipator? You're gonna hear the word dissipator a lot in this video. All that really means, it's kind of a phrase that Bushmaster themselves coined, but this all harkens back to the old Colt 605s, where they basically took an M16, they cut the barrel down, trying to have a 16-inch barrel with rifle length sights. In doing so, they killed all the dwell time and they were highly unreliable. This is like back in Vietnam times. So fast forward, companies have found out how to do that reliably with a multitude of gas systems. You're gonna see everything from carbine, mid, and full-on rifle length gas systems. What kind of makes them the Dissipator is you're still going to have rifle length sights on a 16-inch barrel. Honestly, the gas system, kind of irrelevant at this point because so many people have done it so many different ways. Brownells, for instance, they have like a modern version of a Colt 605. They've gotten a rifle length gas system to work. All of the Wyndham and Bushmasters you're gonna find are going to have mid-length, and I think PSA actually makes a lot of uppers. That's actually what we have on our machine gun. That is a carbine length. Now, depending on if they run, typically the mid-length and the rifle length gas systems are going to be a bit more smooth, a bit more forgiving on the shoulder. Not that carbine has all that much kick, but now that I have a mid-length Dissipator upper and the PSA carbine, the mid-length has way less recoil and is a little less violent when you're trying to shoot fast. Anyway, this started life as basically a clone of the AR15 that was used by Emil Matsuranu, if I'm saying his last name correctly. He was one of the two that actually back in 1997 at the North Hollywood bank heist, look it up, it's actually a very interesting story. A ton of history there with law enforcement. But towards the end of the spree, about 44 minutes of a crazy shootout with police officers, they had modified Chi-Com AKs, a HKG3, and they actually had a Bushmaster Dissipator, almost exactly like you see it here, all illegally modified for full auto. And they just, I mean, the day was theirs. The police at the time, they just didn't carry things like this. They're shooting back at them with revolvers, 9mm. You know, we've got stuff like this shooting at you full auto and AKs. The police didn't stand a chance. So that's why that heist is so significant. That really showed modern law enforcement that, you know, we might need to keep some big boy toys in the cars if this is a possibility that could happen. Anyway, if you watch the very end of that heist, Emil is actually shot like 30 or 40 times in the legs. He's attempting to hijack a Jeep pickup truck from an old guy. And this is the last gun that he has. And he actually has a dual beta drum, 100 round drum mag in it. Anyway, they shoot the piss out of his legs. He falls, bleeds out, dies. And this gun is actually laying on the ground next to him, and it is now featured in the LAPD museum on a mannequin featuring all of their homemade body armor and the bags that they carried out. The money with all the dye bombs still has ink all over it, and he's carrying his Bushmaster Dissipator. Now, some people think it's weird to clone that gun, but it's a significant gun because it kind of showed law enforcement kind of what they needed to do just in case a threat like that ever happens. So take that for what it is, but it's exactly what a gun like this and those AKs they had showed a lot of people. So what he did was he took an H-bar heavy barrel 16-inch A2 Bushmaster, put a Car 15 stock on it. Because they were wearing body armor, he basically ran it all the way in, or so everyone says. He ran A1 triangular handguards on it, you know, like every M16 you'd see in Vietnam. These are actually Vietnam era. Slapped them on there. He, of course, had an A2 flash hider. We'll get to this new muzzle brake in a second, so this is not correct. And we have an A1 Bakelite grip. He would have had an A2, so this is not correct, but this is kind of what I was going for. You know, over the last few years, this gun has changed a little bit, you know. We've added the Bakelite grip, we've added some goon tape. We do like to suppress this thing, so of course we're always running different chemo brakes on there. And it's got a nickel boron bolt, it's just what I've had, and it runs great in full auto on the post samples. And the trigger is just your standard GI that's heavily worn in. This gun actually belonged to my dad like 20 plus years ago, maybe more, and eventually was given to me, and it looks like it does now. Something new that we're trying today is this new JMac 360 chemo brake. The idea here is kind of like a compensator. It's chemo that you don't have to time, so you can just tighten it up until it stops. You know, with like some flash hiders and some brakes, you have to tighten them to a certain point where they're nice and, you know, symmetric, otherwise they don't work properly. This one doesn't matter, you just tighten it until it stops, so it's kind of cool. Interesting pattern with the holes. Maybe we get some flash. It'd be a really cool flash pattern. And of course, we brought back the Trigicon gooseneck mount with everyone's favorite optic. I get asked more about this optic on this gun than anything else. This is a Trigicon RX01 ACOG. I don't believe they make these anymore. If they do, I know they're hard to get and they've gotten kind of expensive, but if you're trying to build like a retro gun, that's the business right there. And they look really good on these carry handle mounts. Me, with my retro ARs, I don't like bolt-on carry handles. I think that's kind of like halfway there. Man, if you're gonna do a retro AR, get an A1 or an A2 fixed carry handle. That's just the business, man. Just own that carry handle, you know? Own it. Anyway, I wanna shoot this thing a little bit with this new muzzle device, show you what that feels like. We'll put the Sandman suppressor on, which, you know, goes on just like that, nice and easy. Just to give you guys an idea of how I have my retro gun loaded out. Anyway, let's do some shooting. If you like the channel and you want to support us, make sure you go buy Third Pin Threads. We got some cool hats, some cool shirts. That's the best way to support the channel. No Patreon. I won't sell you a razor for your ball sack. Anyway. So I'm seeing sparks, not really seeing any flash, but feels good. All right, let's ring some steel. Nice. Very nice. Got some Duramags. In case you're wondering, yes, we are running very cheap Wolf steel case that runs flawless. Man, very fun to shoot. Very fun to shoot. This thing's loud though. I think we can fix that. Man, this thing suppresses so good. Woo, missed the second shot.